Welcome back to Mike Ferry TV. A couple weeks ago, I asked you to strongly consider tracking your numbers. I'm just curious what you've done with that. As you know, the last 2 weeks, I talked to you a lot about Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, your right to be rich, how to become better at what you do. So what we're looking at, of course, as we progress through Mike Ferry TV, skills, dialogue, scripts, mindset, all the things that are required to build a great salesperson. So today, I want to spend a little time with you on a very important topic, which is very abused in real estate. In fact, it's almost not used at all. I titled this Practicing Scripts and Dialogues, Developing Skills. So let me ask you a question. Would you accept this thought? Knowledge equals confidence. Yes. Watch. Ignorance equals fear. Oh no. See, you have to think about what I just said. Knowledge equals confidence. Yes. Ignorance equals fear. Oh no, I don't want to get involved in it. I don't want to see that, and I don't want to be there, and I hope they don't say something. You ever noticed how when you're very knowledgeable about any topic, any thought process, any action, how confident you are to walk into it? You ever notice that if you're a little bit ajar, you're not exactly sure, how all the little fears start to rise and they stop you from performing? Well, in selling real estate, that is 100% the case. The stronger your knowledge of your scripts, the stronger your knowledge of your activities, the stronger your knowledge of who you are and what you can do, the higher the level of performance. But when there's ignorance, meaning you don't know what to say, don't know what to do, and watch this example. Have you ever driven by a for sale by owner and not stopped? Of course you have. And why'd you drive by and not stop? Because you didn't know what to say when you got to the front door. See, the knowledge of what to say gives you the confidence, knock, knock. The fear, not knowing what to say, gives you the opportunity to accelerate, get out of the neighborhood. So how do we become more knowledgeable? And the answer is practicing your scripts and dialogues. So I wrote down a couple of thoughts. I'm going to go through them with you today. The two most important rules in selling are: A, asking good questions of people that you're talking to. B, listening carefully to the answers. Two most important rules in selling are asking good questions to people you're talking to. Now, if you are approaching a seller, you're approaching a prospect, a past client, centers of influence, buy owner expired, and you don't know what to say, how much does that affect your confidence in walking up and having a conversation about them possibly buying or selling a home? It affects it 100%. So therefore, asking good questions is an issue that we have to develop. How do you learn to ask good questions? You have to practice all the time. But then I said B, listening carefully to the answers. Well, how do you do these two things? Practice and role play. Practice and role play. See, in a real business, practice and role play are critical. I remember many years ago, I had the good fortune of talking to a professional football coach. I asked him, I said, how much time does a pro football team actually spend in practice prior to a 1-hour game? His answer was 61 hours of practice for a 1-hour game. I said, now wait a minute. These are professional football players. These are the best in the world. Why would they practice 61 hours? He said, so we don't make a mistake, so we don't screw up. He said, every professional practices every day. He said, amateurs don't practice at all. And I thought to myself, this industry is an industry of amateurs. Real estate's an industry of amateurs. We're charging professional fees for amateur performance. Now think about that. We expect to get paid premium fees for really, in most cases, amateur performance. Why? We don't practice. So how do I become good at asking questions? I practice. I wrote down a second thought. Practice revolves around two issues: the amount of time you spend daily doing it, and B, the intensity of that time. Two issues in practicing. The amount of time. Am I going to spend 5 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, 40 minutes a day? I've listened to some of the top agents in the country talk. Some of them still spend, and these are people operating up here, 30, 40 minutes a day practicing. Some of them spent 2-3 hours a day when we first got together so they could learn the scripts and dialogues to develop the confidence to go in and do their job. Watch, the amount of time I'm willing to spend and the intensity of that time. Am I distracted and looking around and checking my iPhone and listening for an email to come in, bing, bing, and to talk, hi, Mary, how are you? And have to have a cup of coffee and trying to find my, or am I focused on my practice? All right, we're going to role play now the just listed script, and you go right into it. If you don't have any intensity, you can't expect any results. So I wrote down, create a practice schedule routine for yourself. Most of the top agents will practice first thing in the morning. They walk in the office to get their administrative work done, maybe they get their cup of coffee, and then they'll practice and role play 30, 40 minutes every day. How come if the agent's doing 50, 75, 100 deals a year, practice or scripts, and they have this production, and the ones that don't practice have that production, and when I tell them they might consider practice, they want to get mad at me because they're not professional real estate people. You're a professional real estate agent. You got to practice. And then, of course, I wrote down your practice time should be on your daily schedule, no different than prospecting a lead follow-up. Practice. I had a guy say to me one time that used to be a pro football player. Listen to this great quote. Poor practice, no matter how much you do of it, does not improve performance because it's still poor practice. So therefore, if you're going to practice your scripts and dialogues, if you're going to become knowledgeable and confident, then you're going to have to understand that you have to practice the right scripts. I mean, watch. If you practice the following, Mr. Ferry, would you cut your commission? How much? If you're practicing, how much? Guess what you're going to say you're in the field? How much? Mr. Ferry, I want you to cut your commission. No. Any other questions? See, I have to practice the intensity. I have to practice the right things. Hi, my name is Mike. I was wondering, when do you plan on moving? Hi, do you want to sell your home? That doesn't work. Okay. Poor practice, poor scripts, poor dialogues, nothing but trouble all the time. Then I wrote down this thought, okay? If you want to become good, and I don't know how good you want to become, but if you want to become good, how about this? Record your practice sessions. Turn on the recorder, record them. Listen back. Are you asking the questions? Are you following the scripts? Are you operating with intensity? Okay? I wrote down a great quote somebody gave me, one of our top agents. Our growth is determined by our willingness to practice, and our confidence comes from that practice. Customers and prospects want confident people. Isn't that a great thought? Our growth is determined by our willingness to practice, and our confidence comes from that practice. Customers and prospects want confident people. Okay? And the last thought I want to give you on this thought about practice, because the truth is, we don't do it and we should be. Watch. There's always room for improvement, no matter how good we are, how big our numbers are, how successful we are. We have agents that are doing 150, 200, 250 transactions a year. Not REO business, straight residential. They practice their scripts every day. Okay, challenge to you. You want to be knowledgeable and confident, or ignorant and fearful? Do you want to be productive and profitable, or be like most agents? You wouldn't be watching if we didn't both know the answer. Put the business to work for you at the highest level by practicing. See you next week.